Alright, so this is Sidstorm, or Captain Sidstorm here with my first video about STO, or streaming in general. Officially, that is. Hopefully got the kinks out on some of the problems I had in the earlier tests. Yeah, so I'll be doing a few things in this video. Um, let's see here. The first, or the longest thing will probably be an introduction to my five mains, the characters that I play the most. I'll talk about, let's see here, their build, their playstyle, their ship, maybe some names a little bit. Um, yeah, that'll come later. First, I should probably do some broader stuff, talk about, getting this whole gig started and whatnot. Um, for the game Star Trek Online, what I'll be doing is both making YouTube videos and streaming here on Twitch right now. And I'm starting on Twitch because yeah, that's just the way it's happened so far. But hopefully I'll be getting those videos translated over to the other place in some time. Um, uh, well, as Sid Storm or Captain Sid Storm, you might have recognized me from the forums or whatnot as that guy who constantly made an ass out of himself over the Tier 5 Connie. And those were good times. I had fun, and I have fun playing this game, but I can be very critical, as anyone who recognizes me will probably also figure out or remember pretty quickly. But it's an ambitious Star Trek game. I've I've found a lot to have fun with, and uh, you know, it's yeah, I definitely have not put enough planning into these videos, but whatever. Anyways, so yeah, I've talked about streaming versus straight up videos. Yeah, the straight up video types of videos, reactions, there'll be stuff about the ships a lot. Um, I'm really into both the balance and like the way the game is made and like also the way the ships look, the been a Star Trek fan, for pretty much my whole life. Uh, you know, so this stuff gets all nostalgic for me. As I go through the characters, you'll probably notice pretty much all of them fly cannon ships. Hopefully that'll be something I bring to the streaming scene maybe a little bit more. Mostly when I look at people's YouTubes and streams, I see lockbox ships and promo ships, and you know, the hopefully it'll be fresh. Um, Might have to edit this. uh, for all sorts of reasons. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So time to go through my five mains, I guess. And if I remember the other big stuff I should have mentioned earlier. Well, okay. A few more things, I guess. Like I think there's some hope they could do some real crazy good with this TOS faction. I think as a TOS fan, it's a great feeling having like an entire sub faction just like handed to you. Um, that's like, oh, it's wonderful. It could be great. It really could be great. You know, I'm excited, but we'll see. There's a lot of talk going on. Maybe that'll be another one of the big first few videos I need to make. Um, and he flies an Akira, but Raijin has flown more ships than probably any of the other characters I've had. He's been all over the place. He's been in, he spent some time just straight up in the tier two connies, trying to be at endgame, having some fun there. He's been in probably all the first contact escorts except the one that they haven't technically released. I loved all those ships, had a blast with all of them. I love the first contact escorts. There will be characters somewhere in my roster for him always. That Alex Yeager, I think was his name, that designed him. Ooh, great ships. Anyways, but the best one is the Akira, and yeah, so that's what he's in. And the dream was always hopefully that they'd release that tier five Connie refit, and but the Akira is like it's not a bad substitute. Like I don't not have fun using this ship. Love torpedoes. Love them. Been using them pretty much like for a long time. Not the greatest with them. I didn't even know about concentrate firepower until Odin brought it up again after the release. But some of them even look okay if you have the right weapon set. Depending on the situation. Hopefully, you'll see a bit of it from me. Like, I try to have a strong element of like canon style in my builds, but like at the same time, I try to take it as far as I can, because I want to be able to carry a team in PvE, and I want to be like a good pugging PvPer. Although I'm probably not there yet. Maybe on either of them, but I think I could carry like maybe two or three PvEs. um, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. And I'm going to be grinding more with this stuff, so hopefully it'll get better, and I'm learning. Um, about benchmarking everything. I don't use DPS markers or benchmarks or anything, but I'm going to be doing that. Don't know when. The sooner the better, probably. I need to get that stuff figured out for sure and start like really getting to know my builds. But for now I'm fine with the feeling, just getting the feeling, watching the health bars drop. For a long time, the longest time almost, Raijin used cannons, but since he got into the Akira, I've put in beams on him. But he's fun. I have a blast playing him. He uses the shield healing drones because I just don't really feel like trying to be a carrier with the Akira. It was never the part that struck out to me. For me, it was just always that, torpedo boat. But hey, the design, the design's the design. So, yeah, I guess that's Raijin. Oh, what else? No, there was one part I missed about the other thing. Yeah, well, I'll move on. Hopefully it'll come back to me. Here's my second main, Setu, in the Darren Lum. He's my main Klingon. Um, I love him, man. He's probably my most main, my mainest main. Uh, yeah, probably. I need to do some changes up on my bridge officers. There's probably some problems with the hair protocols or something. There may be a little too many rat tails floating around. Loves his battle cruiser. And so most of my characters have just blasted through the strategist specialization, and maybe another fresh thing maybe I could bring a little bit of to the online community is some insights into this and show on. But I imagine there's been a lot from the people who left a rep track or two open. A lot of ways to level up in this game. Really, most of the time I will try my hardest to be a defender of complexity in the game, but you know, uh, I will try to understand both sides too. So on the ground, Tatu is a demolition guy. He does mortars, turrets, drones, but I want to switch him to mortars, mines, and bombs, but I just haven't gotten around to it because it's ground combat. No shame, no shame. But ground combat's not terrible, man. The engineers can be pretty fun. Um, and it's Man, maybe that's another one of the reasons I like Tattoo. Man, he's an engineer on the ground, and he's a Klingon. You know where Klingons love to go and get with their enemies. So maybe it'll all work out for Tattoo. But anyways, and then Tattoo, kind of like Tetsuo. I like Akira too. Great movie. One of my favorites, actually. Anyways, oh yeah, weapons. Weapons though for yeah, and I forgot weapons or yeah, I forgot some weapon style is what I forgot to mention on Raijin. So Tattoo's weapon style is overall dual heavy cannons, torpedoes, but he does rapid fire and torpedo overload because if you ask me, that's what looks right coming out the Katinga. Um, anyway, so I'll go back to Raijin and do him. I already told you he did beams and torpedoes, but he does fire at will with the beams, and he does overload with the torpedoes. The Akira probably could do torpedo spreads, but I just like the look of overload because, of course, first contact that scene. Um, you know, like I was, yeah, he has beam overload too. Sometimes in PvP I'll switch him to beam overload if there's a lot of feedback pulse going on. Alright, so here's Veritas, my third main. She's a Romulan, she's a Vapor, she is in the Voxy. It was originally called the Vox Non, but when I got her the Tier 6 version, I didn't feel like doing the name changes on both of them, so I just beefed it. Um, the torpedo spreads when they come out of this little torpedo launcher, they just that's the coolest looking thing. They all spread out, and because they have to get around this, or you'll just shoot yourself in the face. Um, yeah, it's great. It's like the great big hug of death, man. When Veritas decloaks, wonderful. Yeah, she got the name Veritas from a certain Daft Punk song. It's not my favorite Daft Punk song on the album, but it is probably in like the top five. You know, one of the one of the favorites on the album. Yeah, Tobin Kev. He's not on my bridge crew, but he is on my ground crew. I don't hate him, but here I am with torpedoes, constantly getting sucked up into this torpedo game. Here's Ray wearing the wrong uniform because of some bug or something. Named after another Gundam character with some more Gundam references in his ship name. Ray is another one of my Connie hopefuls. He's an engineer, tank healer. Right now I have him in the Excelsior. I like the Excelsior. It's a nice design. Oh, shame about where those torpedo launchers are at, because it's been such a good model for such a long time. It's really been really solid. Yeah, Ray wasn't gonna be torpedoes, but then Odin Knight reminded me of concentrate firepower, and then Ray was a anti-proton user, and I had managed to get the anti-proton torpedo for most of my torpedo users and my anti-proton guys. So here Ray is with torpedoes, dual beam banks, a front firing, try and do as much anti-proton damage as you can without actually specking into damage because you're a tank healer. Um, and he's kind of an experiment at this point. And oh, he's another guy he's probably the biggest benefactor of me saving spec points for the strategist. Specialization, because the strategist specialization is really, really good for hull tanking, I think. And Ray, on the Excelsior, is doing a lot of hull tanking and hull healing. So honestly, it might even be like a huge paradigm shift in the meta of the PvP, because like side bleed through and just bleed through in general has dominated for a long time now. But well, I don't know. I'm not like a really good or established PvPer. I'm not even in PvP fleets. But I do try to pug, and I've been able to pug a surprising amount since the skill revamp. A lot of people, I think, are wanting to test how this stuff is working, what the ultimate effect is going to be, and I've been enjoying it with them, and it's been up and down, death and destruction, uh, both ways. Hopefully both ways. More destruction, to be honest, but I'm getting there. I'm relearning like with your tank healers, you just put everything into tank healing when you go to PvP, or that's it. But I think yeah, I think good times with Ray. You're probably going to see him in the follow-up stream I'm going to do after this, right after this intro video. I will be playing Ray. I think he's a great person to start this off with. He's not my mainest main or my main fed even, but he gets a lot of playtime. He's actually further ahead than anyone in the skill system, and that might partly be because of the fleet he's in, being an alpha fleet. I don't know about joining this fleet. Kind of a suspicious name, but we'll see. The perks are really nice. Um, gotta be honest there. Whew. This poor Romulan guy has seen some stuff. Who even knows what was going on with the top of his uniform? so yeah, he's in the engineering variant of the Scimitar. He did before bleed. If you ask me, before bleed through and size spamming got super popular in PvP, Eustace had some nice success in PvP. His ship wasn't super tanky at all, but I had gotten it almost to the brink of survivability. And the great thing about that was being in a scimitar made you a target. And so it was it had this hilarious, beautiful, fun situation where you had the aggro as a tank healer in old school Star Trek Online PvP, but you weren't being ignored because you were a tank healer. And that was really helpful in pugs because a lot of people don't really share heals in pugs, and it, it it's nice to be able to get the team off the primary target, which will be myself often. I'll freely admit. Um, um, well, maybe just an easy target is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, Yusha's had some good times. Romulan through and through. Uh, you know, through the visage of his own I don't know, man, playstyle or whatever. He uh, he managed to have some real great fun and do his job in PvP despite that, being kind of difficult, especially for the tank side of tank healing. Um, yeah. All right, so let's start getting this wrapped up and starting to get into a new stream. I'll be playing with Ray, and oh, this is the part I've been forgetting the whole video. Alright, so what is the typical streamer video? Well, a video on YouTube or a video in the background of Twitch could be anything, but while I'm streaming, I will probably be not talking much, and because I need to focus on those cooldowns, to be honest, and the usual stream will be mostly PvE queues, maybe a story mission or two, and maybe some PvP a little bit. But I usually try to do 2 or 3 queues, maybe 4 or 5, depending on what else is happening. Right now, Ray has a console he needs from a story mission, so I'll probably be doing story missions harder than I normally would while I start streaming. So anyways, that was the intro video. It's probably time for me to stop this recording and get ready for another one coming in just a few seconds. So, as an ancestor of mine once famously said, let's mosey.